Good evening, family. Sorry I'm a little late. CPT time, it is what it is. I am so happy to be coming to y'all today, this evening. I won't keep you long. I'm just going to talk about my very first, um, as I talked to y'all about it in the last live stream, I wanted to do a series from feminist to femininity, how we can, put down those feminist roles and embrace who we actually are as black women. Um, Now I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start with talking about the major stereotypes, and so there's a couple of articles I want to read to you regarding the male stereotypical roles. Um, so let me just start here. The key to being feminine is understanding what true masculinity is. Femininity and masculinity are very similar to yin and yang. You can't really have one without the other. So, how I want to start this series is talking about removing the masculine caricature types that feminists and other women embrace. I want to talk about them, knock them down, and that'll be our jump off point to becoming a bit more feminine and learning our roles. Hey, Christopher, how are you? Good evening. So, hey, Dr. Visions, greetings to you. Thank you for coming in. I know it's kind of late where some of you guys are, and I really appreciate your time. I'm not going to be before you long, I promise. So, I got this. I got some of my little work here from this article from an online magazine called Media Smarts. It's a Canadian Center for Digital and Media Literacy. And the name of the article is called Common Stereotypes of Men in Media. Now we don't it doesn't have to be just media. It can be because these are very, very common stereotypes. Um, so the first one we're going to go with um, is, let me see, we women have this notion that being masculine is about a particular set of behaviors and endeavors that is false. The common stereotypes of masculinity, I think there are five. One, two, three, four. Yeah, five. Um, the first one is the joker. Now, I equate the joker to, the guy who made you laugh in class, the one who couldn't sit still in class and always cracked jokes, made fun of people, just to cover his own insecurities. I give you good night, Shar. Good night. Have a good night. Um, so the first one is the Joker. Like I said, my brother was basically a Joker all of his life. He used it as a cover for basically not feeling smart enough to be in class. Um, we can probably attribute this to my mother. Now, the reason I say that is because my mother has always, from the time I was little to now, said that I was so smart and so, so he could have felt a bit of an insecurity um, due to that reason. But let me see. The Joker is a very popular character with boys, perhaps because laughter is a part of their own mask of masculinity. A potential negative consequence of this stereotype is the assumption that boys and men should not be serious or emotional. However, researchers have also argued that humorous roles can be used to expand definitions of masculinity. So if you were the jokester in school, the one that always made everybody laugh, which was doing goofy stuff, this is kind of for you. So now the next one is the jock, the super aggressive, hella roided jock. You know the one you've seen him in movies. It's basically a trope now, where the guy is so aggressive, he has to fight, he has to, you know, he has to hurt himself in the short term. So he's super aggressive, and let's see. He's always willing to compromise his own long-term health. He must fight other men when necessary. He must avoid being soft. See there, I want you to hold on to that thought for a moment. And he must be aggressive. By demonstrating his power and strength, the jock wins the approval of other men and the adoration of women. So here's the jock is one where he's blunting his more softer feminine side to be hard and aggressive. And he's willing to hurt himself and other men for the adoration of women. The low IQ males. What's the question mark? Does he really what?
Like when you said that he's doing this to win the respect of all the other males and the esteem of the women, it's like, oh, really? Does he now? Not really. Not in the long term, anyway.
Well, when you played sports, what was it for?
I played sports because I was interested in playing sports. Like, I was more interested in getting some camaraderie with the dudes that I had to be around every day. Like, I didn't have really a position that I fit in. So I played sports not to impress them, but just to have a place that was mine. They're like, oh, Mark, he's on the football team. Or Mark, he played D&D and shit. You know, whatever.
Oh, so like the cool guy.
Well, for me, it was
so
like,
it was that kind of role, though. You were looking for something to fit in.
No, I was looking for my place to fit in. Every dude has a spot where he fit in, I won't say the hierarchy, because it's not really like that. It's just that whole get in where you fit in, that's a typical dude thing, right? So I had to have a place that was mine, that was like, oh, this is Mark, because we judge other dudes based off of what we do, right? Like, you know, what we about, what we own, right? So if a dude is like, we don't really technically care if a dude is a nerd or, you know, just as long as we can classify him. Like, he's got his place, his shit.
Right, okay. So it was never for the adoration of women.
Fuck no. I mean, I was 15 years old. What do I care about that? I mean, I was interested in girls, but...
I'm saying, let's think about the cheerleaders when they were cheering you on. Did that make you not feel good when you knocked somebody
I didn't even pay attention to that shit.
Interesting. So it's okay. So,
yeah, I'm here, fam.
Yeah, he's in here. So you know what it is. Okay, so for me, I have to think about it in terms of what I've seen, because a lot of our stereotypes come from not only the acculturation that we've been under, but also what we've seen. All right, so they want you to get on the camera. Come on, bro.
I gotta put on a shirt or something, man, unless y'all want to see Mark in all his ugly glory.
It's not... That'll work.
Tell him I won't get it on cam, but I will like, you know, kind of set to the side here, and that way you can hear me and stuff like that, and I can see the chat and all.
So DVM, he said he ain't getting on cam. He can't find no shirt.
I ain't trying to get all dressed up and all and everything.
Dressed up?
You know what I'm saying. But yeah, I'm here, fam.
Okay.
So these are stereotypes that you're talking about of what women have as masculinity, or what stereotypes of masculinity.
Yes. So,
okay.
So that was my very first part in the series was us taking down what we believe are masculine caricatures.
Got you. Okay.
Right. So these are the masculine caricatures. So if you think about it, I have to think about my own experience in high school. I used to be in love with, I mean literally in love with, this guy named Jeff Patton. Now Jeff Patton was this slim little guy, but he was not a quarterback. I didn't know football positions. I didn't care. He played football. He was popular. He didn't even know I was alive. Like, real talk. But anyway, I will say that he was the best dancer. When we went to the under 21 clubs, he was, he had charisma, and I believe it might have come from him playing sports. They used to tell you that, sports will help boost your confidence and all that other crap. What do you think about that? Will did sports boost your confidence? Because you said you could hack squat like 100,000 pounds. Is what you said?
I will say that no, not really.
It didn't boost your confidence?
And there's a reason why though it didn't. Because I wasn't looking for it to boost my confidence. Like, so for dudes, competence, competence, competence increases confidence, right? But here's the rub. You're always in competition.
Chris, you won't come on camera. I'm sorry.
You know what? I gotta put on a shirt or
Go
something.
get a shirt,
you know
bro.
what I'm saying?
Go get
Like,
a shirt, bro.
all right.
Anybody watching?
Stand by, fam.
Or were you talking about Jeff Patton or were you talking about Mark, Christopher? So while he's putting on a shirt, what I will say is that I went to football games. Well, I lived in Texas as a teenager, so, you know, Friday Night Lights was, oh, Jeff, I haven't, he was more interested in Mexican girls per se than sisters, and I have not actually seen him since high school. I might have saw a picture of him on Facebook at one point in time, but
this dude you just doxed?
he's on Facebook. I didn't dox him. You ain't shit.
He put out his whole government name and everything.
Okay.
Can y'all see me, fam? Y'all probably can't, but I'm gonna try my best to can. I get in here.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm over in the corner in the cut. Peace, fam.
Peace. Okay. So
bring up the chat. There you go, Miss Deanie.
Okay. So I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, I don't know what happened. I know I've seen him on Facebook once or twice, but he was more interested in dating Mexican girls than black girls, and he thought I wasn't alive. I couldn't tell you what happened to him, Christopher. I don't know. But I will tell you that, like I said, I grew up in Texas during my teenage years, and football was Friday, and under 21 clubs was Saturday. So if you wanted to go out, it was football. So I went to football games. Sometimes drunk. I'm just saying.
How the fuck?
Yeah, I used to sneak in my Sprite. I'm just saying. I used to sneak a little Mad Dog in the Sprite.
Girls be getting away with murder, I tell you. Y'all ain't shit. Real talk.
Anyway. Okay, so El Paso, Chris. I lived in El Paso, Fort Bliss. My mom actually at that time was at McGregor Range. She was in the Army. My stepdad was in the Army. So yeah, grew up in Texas. Loved El Paso to death. I really did. But so could I say I adored Jeff because he played football? No, but it did add a little intrigue. Like when I met him before school started, going to the 21 and under clubs. And then when I saw that he was playing football, I thought, oh wow, like there's a new layer to the mystery that is Jeff. So for me, I never equated, I never liked the whole Friday Night Lights thing. I never thought that was a good thing, to hurt yourself to get some girls like adoration, or to be super popular because you're the football quarterback or whatever. I ain't real like that.
You do realize though that stereotype is extant in our culture, right? Mm-hmm. Like the dude who is the fighter, the scrapper, the sports dude, the jock. All that shit kind of plays into like biological urges that females feel like, this cat can provide, like he can go out and hunt and protect. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, there's that element of it too. Because a lot of these, Chris said, that's why he like the Latinas.
You ain't right, Chris. I'm just.
But no, I mean, like, I'm hearing you talk about these stereotypes. So I think it's important because, exactly, BGS hit it on the head. Shout out to the esteemed elder.
Hey, the tribal warrior.
Yeah, exactly. Mm-hmm. Like, think about it. So, in in ancient human groupings, right? Everybody had a role. And the males, there was primacy put on those who could protect the tribe, who could provide food when the tribe was hungry, and so on and so forth. And to the extent you were able to do that, your stock, if you will, amongst the females, especially because remember, the females are stationary. Even if they're nomadic groups, nomads move to a place, the females set up house, and then the dudes scout, wander, hunt, all that other shit, right? So the cat that was able to go out there and kind of demonstrate his skill and ability in fighting to protect the females from other tribes, getting food, resources, things like that, his stock was super high, right?
Is it always about a man's utility?
Well, here's the thing, though, right? Because it wasn't just that. And I think that's kind of where we get the whole thing fucked up.
Right.
Because utility can come in a range of different things. For example, most of the, and BGS will speak to this because he understands the whole spiritual piece a lot better than I do. But the shaman, right? The spiritual warrior, if you will, was also a position of cachet, of note, right? A shaman would be relatively high status. And also, too, the chief. The chief wasn't necessarily the best hunter or the most spiritual, whatever. The chief was the one who was best at information gathering and synthesis. He could take all the different information coming in from the warriors, from the shaman, from the ladies, and all of that, and synthesize that into a game plan that everybody could get behind. He was the great organizer. And that was a position of status, too, as well, right? So we have a kind of a fucked up or skewed idea of utility these days because, believe it or not, men have traditionally been able, even what we would now consider like beta dudes, would still have some means behind which they could gain a status. As a matter of fact, the whole cohesiveness of the tribal group at large, or the clan when you got into bigger groupings, had to do with each guy having his own place. If you had a guy who was out of place, right, who didn't have a spot or didn't have a status, that's a place or a point of dissension. That's how murders happen. That's how wild shit happens. You see what I'm saying? So a working, cohesive human grouping requires that every man has some degree of status. We're not like chimpanzees where there's the alpha and then everybody else is underneath. In order for human groupings to work, we have to have every male with a status. And there was opportunities for every male using what he could be, what his utility was to gain that status. Am I making sense, fam? Sorry. I'm going to let her finish. I'm shutting up.
No, stay.
No, I'm not going nowhere. I'm being quiet. Do your thing, Miss Dini.
Christopher, I can't. Okay, so now, good Lord. Okay, Joker. Okay, so I totally get it. Now, the whole thing, he must avoid being soft. It seems to me that from the time black men are young, they're taught to keep their emotion in check. Like, they can't show emotion, they can't be soft, they can't give in to their feminine side. Now, what do you think? What can we do to remedy that?
Say that a little louder so they can hear you.
Oh, sorry. Which part? Damn. Okay.
You were saying that men can be, are told not to be
right,
emotional or soft.
So what I was saying, family, was the jock. Sorry. So what I was saying was the jock must avoid being soft, and he must be aggressive. And I was saying that I believe it's y'all's acculturation from the time y'all are little ones, that y'all are taught to withhold emotion, to keep it under the surface, to not feel, to not be able to express your feminine side. And if you did, you were deemed as, a homosexual or soft. What do you think that we can do to remedy that so that our men can begin to heal and feel?
I have a question. I'll answer yours, but I have a question first.
Mm-hmm.
What makes emotion feminine? Like last time I checked, both males and females have the capacity for emotion,
Mm-hmm.
right? So when did we, and where is it written that showing emotion automatically consigns you to one half of the human race, regardless of what your actual sex or gender is? Like, in your opinion, where do you think that comes from?
Hmm. Hmm. That's a good question. I mean, I think, damn. I think I know that it comes from I know that it comes from when you were a child. When you're a child, you're told, men are told you can't cry, or they're told.
That's symptomatic, right?
Mm,
So let me rewind it a bit.
mm,
Okay, our acculturation is that we don't show emotion, we don't, you know what I'm saying, and so on and so forth, right?
mm,
Now we know that this has benefits, otherwise we wouldn't keep acculturating men this way,
uh-huh,
right?
mm.
So I guess my question is not not so much what is being done, but what do you see the benefits of men or boys, males, not being allowed to show too much emotion or express emotion freely and so on and so forth?
What do I see the benefits
Yeah, I'm
of?
asking you, what benefits do you see in it?
I mean, I don't really see a benefit in not letting a boy be emotional. I don't see what I can see from what they've done is they continue to do what they think works.
Well, I can tell you one benefit right off the bat.
There isn't any real benefit.
There is a benefit. I didn't say there was a benefit for him. I said that there is benefits,
Mm-hmm.
right? One benefit of teaching males to not be emotive is that it makes it easier for the populace at large to dissociate from what happens to them, right?
So it erases their humanity.
Well, to be more precise, it creates enough distance to where they don't have to be as concerned about what happens to them. Like,
Is that why? Sorry, is that why? When you hear about men's pain, domestic violence, or you hear about sexual abuse on boys, it doesn't affect you the same way it would if you hear about a woman.
exactly, right? We're used to having our emotions invested in females,
Mm-hmm.
right? So if something happens to a male, you know, if people are really good, they'll be like, "Oh man, that's messed up. What happened to dude?"
Mm-hmm.
Right? But that's kind of where it stops.
Emotions cloud logic. Humans have
BGS said that emotions clouds logic, and that's true. If you're asking men to,
first before you're feminine. He also said humans have both features, just females dominate with emotion and men dominate in logic. Emotion clouds logic. Okay.
do you know why BGS is mentioning that? Because when you're forced to kind of engage with the world,
Mm-hmm.
as males are, right?
Mm-hmm.
That first of all, we're kind of biologically driven to it,
Mm-hmm.
right? But secondly, we're acculturated to it.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have dudes rushing out into the world who feel some kind of way about everything, right? They just need to take in the data and analyze it,
Okay.
right? Now, in those times when we are safe and so on and so forth, we can sit around and kind of emote about it, I guess, right? But at the time that we're doing that scouting, that recon, that information gathering, and so on and so forth, in order for that information to be communicated effectively to everybody else, we can't really inject any emotion into it. It just has to be information that we deliver. When we go to a brother and we say, "Hey, we found a pack of lions over here. We found a herd of wildebeest over here." We can't be like, "Man, I was walking down here, and I saw this pack of wildebeest and I was all fucked up behind it because I was hella hungry." You feel me? I don't need to hear all that. Tell me where the wildebeest are so we can get to them, right? So if you have these males, and I'm not arguing that this is a benefit to them. I'm saying this is a benefit to the group. You want the information that they communicate to be concise, to the point, factual, all of that. And emotion can overwhelm facts.
Okay, but what happens when you're not in a dangerous situation anymore and you have all of this in you, whether you spit or not? What?
BGS said we see what happens when males are too emotive. We call them millennials.
Okay, first of all, CC, you ain't shit. I mean, BGS, you ain't shit.
Peace to Double C, by the way.
Peace Double C. So is that what we call moist males, BGS? I just need to know if that's where we're at with it. Moist males. Okay, now, in my own preference, I have, in ignorance, been on some "I want you to show me how you feel" shit, right?
I don't think that's ignorance.
No, it is. Because BGS, I'm so glad you're here. In my own ignorance, I've
right, soy boys.
Okay, wow. This is just going way off the. Anyway, just going way off the. Anyway, in my own ignorance, I've seen, helping this woman, helping my friends raise their children. I've seen how they kind of want their boys to be strong and tough because the world is tough, and then being with a man myself who I wanted to be, romantic and, sweet to me and show me his emotions, show me his soft side. I can't, it is ignorance because it's like, I'm telling this young boy, okay, look, you can't cry about this. We gotta, you gotta suck it up and keep going. But then, what I'm saying is that I can't really, what are you looking for?
Oh, don't worry about it. Go, keep going.
Okay, he's just going.
No, I'm coming back.
He's just going to do what he's doing. Okay, so what I'm saying is that in my own ignorance, I've kind of wanted to have it both ways. I kind of wanted to be, raising my little boys to say, suck it up, but then I want the man to keep your calm to be able to emote to me. But we're not teaching them to be emotive. And I mean, I guess according to Mark, there's like, a benefit to the group as to why I'm not teaching them to be emotive. But I think that at some point, if you don't, and I'm not saying be a soft, moist male or a soy boy, I'm saying to honestly, you have to, you can't just keep on taking the data and then not wondering how you feel about what happened.
What?
Thought you were going to interject.
No, not at all. I was going to wait until you finish. Because you asked me a question and I was going to answer it finally.
Okay. Finally?
Finally.
So, I'm sitting here wondering, if I'm asking, no, BGS, I don't think so. But I also think we should not be the arbiters of how you show your emotion. Just like we shouldn't be the arbiters of what masculinity is. And now you may answer my question.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
You asked me, how do we resolve the problem?
Mm-hmm.
In traditional societies, a boy, a young boy, right,
Mm-hmm.
like a young child, at first was with his mother,
Mm-hmm.
right, but then was taken away from his mother to be with the men.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he learned what his roles were as a masculine man, right, as a
Mm-hmm.
male.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then before he was initiated into manhood,
Mm-hmm.
he would have to engage with the women of the tribe. There was different tribal groups that had educational practices that involved sexuality, that
Mm-hmm.
involved intimacy,
Mm-hmm.
that involved all of these things, right?
Mm-hmm.
He had, though, his underlying maleness respected, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
in other words, what the brothers was able to lay down for him was his foundation.
Mm-hmm.
But the ladies were then able to come in before he became a full-fledged male of the tribe and put the polish on it, the spit shine on it,
Right.
so that he could be a householder, that he could relate to, people and things like that, right? So he wasn't just this monotonal, emotionless flesh machine,
Mm-hmm.
right? In my humble opinion, I believe that the problem, or in other words, to solve the problem, we have to create that space where boys are under the auspices of men, but before they become men, they are then engaged with the females, right? Where they learn how to be personable, where they learn how to create bonds and connections, where they learn how to honor emotion. Because once they have that masculine foundation, they're going to be of utility, they're going to be of service, right? But that veneer of femininity that's overlaid before they become men
Mm-hmm.
allows them to have the benefits of certain feminine ideas, certain feminine traits,
Mm-hmm.
right? It basically polishes them and takes the rough edges off of just pure masculinity,
Mm-hmm.
right?
I had another question. But I think I lost it. Give me a minute. Damn it. Told us you should listen to us when. Wait, huh? Feminism told us you should listen to us women and feel our feelings.
Right.
Shit. Facts, Christopher. Facts. Which is why this particular series I think is gonna be good for men as well as women, because I'm gonna do my damnedest to take down these stupid ass caricatures. They're not the only reason stereotypes work is because there's a grain of truth to it. The problem is that these stereotypes can only really work for one sect of people. It can't work for us. We have to be able to figure out how our society should be run. This is not going to work for all of us because it just simply can't. We don't have the same access to power and resources to make it work for us. And then
I'm gonna have to agree with that.
yeah.
I agree with that 100%.
So the next caricature is the strong silent type. The strong silent type focuses on being in charge, acting decisively, containing emotion, and succeeding with women. I don't know how if he's strong and silent, I'm just saying. This stereotype reinforces the assumption that men and boys should always be in control, and that talking about one's feelings is a sign of weakness. That was it. That was the question. I got it now. My question to you in the chat is, say what, VJ?
Feminism is to make people androgynous.
Yeah, I ain't with that shit. But I feel it. My question was, if to any of the women if there are any women in the chat. No. Okay, cool. So, my one question is, if you meet a man um, who's cisgender, heterosexual, is that right?
I think you got it right. You never know these days.
It's a man who likes women, but he is
right.
facts, CC. Facts. All right, and so my question was: if you meet a cisgendered male, this is a man who likes women. Thank you, because it's how I'm telling him. And he is, say, more emotional than the average bear. Like, why do we mistrust him immediately?
You the female in this conversation. Why don't you answer that question?
And I seem to be the only female in this chat.
This is a lesson for the brothers today, because the females don't seem to be interested, which again is not surprising. So have at it as the representative of your group.
That's the thing. I haven't actually met a man who was cisgendered and more emotional than the average man. So that's why I was asking women, because women say, I don't like a man who cries. Man who cries a bitch. Yeah, I don't feel that way. I think if I had to step into a ratchet shoes real quick, shot of Grinch. If I had to step into a ratchet shoes real quick, I would just say that perhaps she doesn't see his ability to protect and defend if he's sitting there crying.
That's possible. That's quite likely, as a matter of fact.
Mm-hmm. But I kind of want to say to her, that's stupid. That's stupid as hell. If he's a man, but he's showing you that he can give you, because the thing of it is
if BGS is hitting this spot on, women don't trust it because they already got plenty of emotion. They're encouraged to express it in the whole 9 yards. What they need is somebody to come along with structure. Right?
But then they say, wait a minute, but the feminist women say hegemony, patriarchy, hegemony.
Yeah, but you know what? Here's the thing, though. Isn't it funny that those same feminist bitches, though, expect that men honor the traditional roles, right?
But
like,
they don't have to.
Like, well, here's the thing, right? So you just mentioned the stereotype of the strong, silent type, right? Mm-hmm. That is, in my opinion, the quintessential stereotype of Western men, mm-hmm. right? They're supposed to be stoic, suffer with grace and silence, mm-hmm. but nobody cares about grace, so preferably silence, right? Women don't want to hear shit from the classic dude.
Okay.
But you feel me?
Yeah.
Right? That's brothers, you agree with me? The strong silent type is the one that, okay, so if you look at like classic ass movies, right? Like Clark Gable and shit.
Right.
He was just a square jaw on the screen. Nobody really gave a fuck about what his lines was, or what
they
his.
They did like the whole "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn."
You feel me, right? Like he's Mr. I don't give a fuck,
right.
And women just fall at his feet, right? You see what I'm saying? That to me is the quintessential stereotype of Western masculinity.
As a matter of fact, not only is it quintessential, it's, in my opinion, the perfect man. The strong, silent type is the guy that focuses on that. Okay, we're gonna run this shit. Stop talking. I'm gonna do this. This is me. Let's go. Right? But if you remember, multiple times I told you that when I was a young girl and I wanted to be what I saw on TV, Cinderella, Snow White, whatever. Have we ever thought about, while we were being acculturated to want something we could never have, that men were too? That being the strong silent type, being Clark Gable, being, what's the one in Casablanca?
Humphrey Bogart.
Being Humphrey Bogart. Hold on, wasn't he gay?
No, that was Rock Hudson.
Ah, right.
Right?
So John
Shaft.
Yes.
The strong silent type.
Yes, Christopher, exactly.
Superfly. Like all those black exploitation movies. all them cats was the strong, silent type, right? They came into this world and it was ice cold, and so they were all alone, and they didn't give a fuck about nothing and nobody,
exactly.
and they just did whatever they had to do, and so on and
Yes.
so forth. It's the quintessential stereotype.
This is for what man called Hawk.
Yep, Hawk. You remember Hawk from Spencer for Hire? Yep.
Yes, Cece. Yes. And it's like
Avery Brooks is a shit, by the way. Sorry about the digression, but god damn, that boy can act. Woo.
Anyway, while we were acculturated to want and never have, want something, to reach for something we never have, y'all were too. Y'all were supposed to be Hawk. Y'all were supposed to be Shad. Y'all were supposed to, he's a bad mother shuck, all of that good shit.
All of that shit.
Y'all were acculturated for that as well. And I believe, who?
Stringer Bell from The Wire.
Oh, sorry, BGS, I ain't watching Wire. It's on my to-do list.
Yeah, she failed, BGS, not watching The Wire, you feel me? You come at the king, you best not miss. Shout out to Omar.
Who was gay as the day is long.
And
today.
bad as a motherfucker.
Anyway, I think the strongest type is, like Mark said, the one we wanted all of our, it was tall, dark, and handsome. We never said we wanted somebody who was going to talk to us. He just had to be tall, dark, and handsome. And could pay my rent.
Yep.
And that's it.
That's pretty much it.
I mean, but the thing is that y'all are so much more than that. Y'all are so complex and diverse. It's not even funny. Like, I don't watch The Wire after. Uh-oh. Thank you, Cece. Thank you.
I'm going to have to pull your man card, homie.
Pull his man card.
I'm going to have to pull your man card, homie.
That's my dude.
See, you suspect, right? You looking unfamiliar right now.
Do not tell Steve you're done. Did you just... okay. All right. So this right here is what you were acculturated to be. Now, what we're going to do is, even if I don't have a woman watch this shit, I still want to talk to y'all because fuck that shit. I don't see any of y'all as ain't shit niggas, as no strong and sound type. Yes, you're strong. I think, if I can be honest a bit here, I think masculinity.
Right.
Right. I think masculinity is muscle over skin. Did you see his question?
Yeah, I see his question. That's my Miss Denny, Chaos.
Heroes are strong and snarky? The female heroes are strong and snarky?
Yeah, so he's talking about like the new Captain Marvel and shit, like, these heroine chicks, right? Like even the anti-heroines, like
what about to play James Bond?
Oh, for sure. Wait a minute. What about the bitch who played Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, but she was strong, but snarky. Like she talked a lot and she was nuts and all of that shit. You feel me?
Hey, LaShawn. Oh boy. Okay. Gosh. So what was I saying? I'm saying masculinity to me, if I were to define it, she was good though at it. Who was?
He's talking about Captain Marvel.
Margaret.
Oh no, I think he's talking about Harley Quinn. Peace, LaShawn, by the way, man.
So I believe in masculinity. If I was able to define it, and it's a terrible definition, so I apologize, but I believe it is muscle with beautiful skin over it, strong and soft and pliable, but rigid when y'all need to be. That's what I define as masculinity. So soft, yet strong. Not like soft and moist, BGS, Christopher. But like both, strong and soft. So the next stereotype is the big shot. I'm gonna have fun with this one, BCW. I'm just saying. The big shot is defined by his professional status. He is the epitome of success, embodying the characteristics and acquiring the possessions that society deems valuable. This stereotype suggests that the real man must be economically powerful and socially successful. All right. I'ma just say it. This ain't us. This ain't us. You know who this is? The white dude on Wall Street that when he loses his fortune jumps out the window. That's who that particular stereotype belongs to.
BGS said it in 2 words. The bag.
Yeah.
Yep, the big shot is the bag, right? He's the cat that's got the resources, got the pull, got the connections or whatever. He's the bag.
Now, here again is everyone's dream man. Every woman, righteous included, dream man. Think about women, your ultimate wish list for a man. I remember, I believe, what? After the Deutschman. Okay.
We'll
right.
have to talk about that one.
Okay.
I'll school her on the Deutsche Bank thing, fam. But she's not up on that.
BGS didn't he do a video about that?
Yeah, BGS talked about Deutsche Bank.
Yeah. Okay, so I remember, I don't know if it was Oprah or what show it was exactly, but there were black women on it. And the black woman had this huge wish list for the perfect man. The very first thing, the top thing on her list was he had to be a millionaire. So the big shot, the one who drives the fancy schmancy sports car.
Wait a minute, you talking about that bitch who had like a list of like 41 different things?
Yeah,
okay, yeah, I remember that shit.
Yeah. And all the ladies will try to secure the bag in some way.
Facts.
True, CC, very true. So her first thing, it wasn't about his personality, it wasn't about it was about the money, because that is the world we live in. And I get it, but shouldn't you want a man for more than his wallet? I mean, I know I'm saying things that may sound foreign to you bitches, but I'm just saying. I'm just saying. A man of means and affluence, though, as I said before, wants his equal. I had a friend once who said to me, if I want a rich man, I have to be or appear to be rich.
Cease is killing the game tonight.
All right, break it down. What's the 4 things?
Keep going, Miss Diddy, but yeah, Cease, run it down.
Run that shit. That I have to be or appear to be rich. I can't remember the exact quote. There are a few problems with this stereotype. 1, we black folks, and the average black man doesn't have the ability to be this stereotype. And if you think about it, think about any stock market crash, right? Think about the dot-com bubble burst in 2008. Leave alone. All right, I got it. Number 1, leave you alone. Space and lots of it. Got it. What's number 2? She needs to tell it, Christopher. Tell it, Christopher. That's true. Okay. The dot-com bubble burst. The crash of 29. If you think about all of these things and think about the day before, the men who worked in these places or put money in these places were rich as hell, and the next day they ain't had shit. What did they do? A lot of them killed themselves. Like, let's just be honest. So this ain't us. I believe we're made a little bit hardier stock than that. But I really think that this stereotype doesn't really fit us at all. Like, don't get me wrong, there are men of affluence that are black. Food, we need sustenance. If you can't cook, you learn from YouTube. Me personally prefer to cook. I hear you. Mark Black is the same way. He likes to cook.
I don't let no woman in my kitchen.
You lie. I've cooked for you. Stop lying. Why are you lying?
I'll be telling big lies.
I'm not
Every
telling
so
no
often, you know. Like every so often. Although that motherfucker Monte Cristo, anyway, whatever.
So the Monte Cristo?
No, it was on point. Continue.
See, so you talking shit. Where was that? Food we need substance, right? Okay, what's the third and fourth thing, CC? So there's two more. One, the fourth, was it the fifth one? The fifth one is the action hero. Strong, but not necessarily silent. This one is actually kind of a play off the jock. He's often angry. Above all, he is aggressive in the extreme and is increasingly, over the past several decades, he engages in violent behavior. Now, I'm going to give y'all one example of somebody I know who in movies is like this. Well, actually two. Arnold Schwarzenegger and what's the short one? Stallone?
Yeah.
The dude Stallone.
I noticed you didn't name any brothers.
Action Jackson, can you let me get through? Like, can I?
You said a couple, so I was holding you to that shit. No, I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead.
Oh my god. Anyway, so I don't know if y'all remember when the first Predator came out. I watched it in the movies. So Arnold Schwarzenegger's character, because you know he don't actually have any real personality. Just saying. His character was just this tough as nails guy who was just gonna kill shit. In every action movie I think I've seen him, and I've seen a lot of them. I was a huge Schwarzenegger fan. Forgive me. He's just been that guy that liked to be alone, or he was tough, but he had a little daughter he had to protect, and like value her man feelings and wants.
He's saying what brothers need.
Okay. Right.
Yeah, from a woman.
From a woman. Value her man feelings and wants. Right? That's right. LaShawn, we absolutely do need to value you. Value what you want, you need. He said, and then he said, Mark Blackman, man, that's the rule. No women allowed in my kitchen. How are we going to cook for you, CC, if we're not allowed in the kitchen? I'm going to need you to work that out for me. Let me know. You know? So the action hero stereotype is always angry. So he's strong, but he ain't always quiet. And it also, I think, plays off the jock as well, because the physical and mental stimulation.
Yeah, he's saying we require physical and mental stimulation from women.
Okay, I feel you.
And that's up to you how you imagine that to play out.
Well, you know.
But it requires some effort, some brain computing. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. You got to figure that shit out.
I got you, CC. I got you. Okay. So after the action hero is the buffoon. This is your Homer Simpsons, your Peter. What's his name from Family Guy?
I know who you're talking about.
What's his name though?
I don't know. I don't watch that bullshit.
Whatever. It's usually the dads from these TV shows.
Al Bundy.
Oh God. Al Bundy. And then the dad from American Dad. Also the dad from Incredibles. So he's basically a bungling father figure. Usually well-intentioned and lighthearted. These characters range from slightly inept to completely hopeless when it comes to parenting their children or dealing with domestic or workplace issues. All right, so those are my stereotypes.
Why are we discussing these?
Huh?
I didn't catch why we were discussing these.
The stereotypes?
Yeah. Like, what's the purpose of
Leave them.
That's number 1 and number 4.
Wait, it's number 1 and 4, CC? Damn.
You didn't catch that?
How are we going to cook for you and give you physical and mental stimulation if you ask us to leave you alone? These are my questions.
No, come, do that, and then dip.
Oh, damn. It's like that.
There's logic to this shit.
Whatever. The reason we were discussing the caricatures, Mark Gillespie, is because the first step...
See, this is what my government names is all over YouTube. You said my name.
Oh, I did.
I don't care.
My bad. Well, at least you can't dox him. I'm just saying.
Right.
The reason that we were discussing caricatures before you came into the chat and added your wealth of knowledge was because it's the first step to us from going from feminist to feminism. We're dropping the male caricatures that we portray.
I think I understand where you're coming from. And I'm sorry, I don't want to seem like I'm dense, but you're saying that understanding what constitutes masculinity as a caricature is the first step in moving from feminism to femininity.
Yes.
Okay.
Because as you said, as we talked about, the key to being feminist is to understand what true masculinity is. It is the duality within us that makes us both equal parts male and female. And as I said, the first step to becoming less a feminist and more feminine is understanding what you think you're trying to portray.
Oh, I see. So in other words, if femininity is the incorporation of some masculinity, then in order to do that, you need to understand what masculinity actually is.
Exactly.
Got it. Okay.
Right. So, do you want to have anything else?
Well, when it comes to discussing caricatures and stereotypes, right, I am of two minds, right? This conversation is, in my opinion, a must-have. Mm-hmm. Allow Chris's comment, if you
would. What'd you say, Chris? I guess brains is not masculine. Damn, I'm fucking. No,
nah, Chris.
No.
I think
you ain't here. Wait, you ain't here. BGS said logic. That requires what? Brains.
Here's the thing. So this conversation is long overdue for a host of reasons. So I'm glad we're having it.
Right.
Now, as you know, I like to consider myself a student of Dr. Tommy Curry.
Right.
Right. And in the man not. Right, the man-not theory discusses the caricatures in two ways, in two fashions. Because, believe it or not, in your discussion here of these stereotypes, there was some that you had to admit didn't quite match ADOS males.
Right.
Well, why is that?
Yes.
No. It's a more rhetorical question.
Right.
It doesn't match us because a lot of what is stereotypically male that we are acculturated with, as opposed to the inculturation that whites and other ethnic groups receive, is racialized, right? So the bigger problem with stereotypes for ADOS men isn't the fact that stereotypes exist. That is true for males across the board. The biggest problem for us is that these caricatures serve to essentially erase us from ever having any degree of humanity. Like, for example, you can meet somebody and have a caricature of them in your head, but through continued interaction, right, the stereotype gets replaced with the reality of that person, right?
That's kind of why when you say in your job interviews, when white people talk to you, they always say, "Oh my gosh, you're so well spoken."
That's a part of it. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing: the stereotypes or the caricatures of ADOS males go to maintain the dehumanization needed to justify what is done to them. Because of that, nobody really has incentive to change those stereotypes, because to change those stereotypes of ADOS men means that they have to change how they interact with ADOS men. But no one's incentivized to change how they interact with ADOS men. So the caricatures are doubly dangerous for us.
Go ahead.
I'm reading the comments too.
All right, so wait, Christopher said, LaShawn said, logic involves applying common sense. Be smarter on paper, don't do anything useful.
Yeah, he's saying that, you got to have some degree of common sense. You can be hella smart, but if you're not doing nothing useful, you're dumb as fuck.
Totally understand, LaShawn. Okay, now Christopher said, but why are we discussing the stereotypes of masculinity for mainstream society? I grew up with women. Well, the reason why I in my studies and in my research, I was looking for stereotypes to discuss with you. Now, like I said, there are some that don't fit black men. Um, but we're discussing them because those are the ones available. And I apologize if it's not more tailored to you. There are some that are for us. Like I said, the jock, uh, the strong and silent type. I'm sorry. Cece said every man needs sanctuary. Usually that is at home, and the woman is supposed to be the helpmeet. Yes, I believe that as well. If a man doesn't have sanctuary, a place to relax, it will take a toll where he will be doomed to failure. Okay. So, Christopher, to answer your question, like I said, the reason why I've been researching for weeks actually, to try to find out how to come across with what I wanted to say as far as being feminine. Now, I actually suffer from that too. There are times when I am, but I have I feel like I have more masculine traits. So I wanted to do this because I wanted to give the women who listen to me, because there are a few, an opportunity to find a way to get past that feminist bullshit. Because in all honesty, y'all were never a hegemony over us. There's no black male patriarchy. There's none of that. So I wanted to give the women who wanted to have the opportunity to move forward from that, and I wanted to give them the opportunity to find a way past the stereotypes. I'm going to give you a little tip on feminism. Feminism was never about black women. Feminism was about white women being on par with white men and then rearing us like children. So black women were never going to be a part of the whole feminist, look. And even in Grinch's book, he mentions that in first wave feminism, they used black women to stand in their back during their protests because it was never about them. Feminism was never about all women being equal. It was about white women being on par with white men, to have the same political power, to have the same monetary status as white men. So, the reason for this is in my very last written blog post. Exactly, Christopher. Exactly. In my very last post, called "What Happened to the Good Woman," during the time that I wrote that post, I kind of turned my back on black women. I said, "Fuck y'all! I'm not talking to y'all no more," because y'all obviously don't see. I wanted to, as I've evolved a bit during the time that I started, doing videos, I wanted to give black women an opportunity to kind of educate themselves and see how their roles, what they're doing, being feminist, is hurting the black collective. So this is why I decided to do this 5-part series. Now, as I can see, my first series, all I got is men, which is fine because I like talking to y'all. And the Black Honey Badger is about men's rights, black men's rights. So this is the reason why I decided to start off with discussing what the caricature of masculinity is. The fact of the matter is that feminists are walking around with this caricature of being a strong and independent woman, and they're not seeing what true masculinity is. They're not seeing, hey, it's not that I'm alone, that I'm raising these kids by myself. It's not any of that. If I can put that down, and I can probably learn to be more feminine by learning truly what masculinity is.
Oh, I see it, Miss Denny, because once women understand masculinity, it helps them better to define femininity.
Yes, because as we said, it is men more open to listening than women are. Okay, take away the TV from black women and replace it with books, enough with the Real Housewives of so and so. Facts, Christopher. Facts.
Facts.
So I wanted to make this a way. So I wanted to make this a way for, like I said, women, black women, to say, all right, maybe what we're doing is bullshit. Because in our minds, if I can put myself in the mind of a ratchet real quick, they know that stomping on your rights is what's making our collective look like this. They know that denying you opportunities to see your children and then fleecing your ass with child support. They know. That's what I said in my last live. They know what they're doing. They're incentivized to do it. But I was hoping, against hope, that maybe they'd want to. Some of them will want to change. And if they do, if they see this on the re-up, that's great. Then that means that I got them, and we can begin to work on being feminine instead of feminists. Anything to add, Mr. Black?
I'm trying to think. I admire what you're doing. Definitely not enough sisters giving this any degree of thought. I don't share your hope, right? But I have but I have my reasons why. I mean, at the end of the day, Mark Black remains a realist, and the reality of it is that there is going to need to be a sea change in the dynamic between ADOS males and ADOS females, specifically, but black women and black males generally, before we see any type of major shifts in how things operate between us. There's just, in my opinion, there's too much incentivization.
Too much like bad blood.
Well, no, because here's the thing. I'm continually amazed by ADOS male capacity to know that our sisters a lot of the times is working at best at cross purposes with us, and at worst as our open avowed enemies, and still look to engage them. So if there's any bad blood, I would say that it's hardly evident, right? Compared to how we could be coming at women, we've been relatively measured, in my opinion, right? Because there's a lot that we could address that would make y'all really not like us, exactly. Right? But that being said, what I'm talking about is more along the lines of, and BGS talks about this a great deal when he talks about some of the coming societal, economic, political shifts that are going to happen in our society. And at some point, the dynamic will have changed enough to where it will force open a space for us to re-examine the dynamic as it has existed. But until that occurs, the incentivization is too strong.
Here's the thing. In one of my blog posts, I wrote a couple of things. One, I wrote that they basically sold their soul and their child's soul for a better position in white supremacy. The other thing I wrote is I said that at some point it's going to have to be addressed. What I would hope is that it can be addressed while we all have a choice for it to be addressed. What I believe, because I have to be real about it too. What I believe is that it's going to take some drastic drops in white Zaddy's help for it to be like, all right, I
just keeping it above.
I gotta go to my brothers. And then on top of that, we want them to fight for us for freedom and for justice. But what incentive do y'all have to fight for us? We don't give y'all, if we're incentivized to not give y'all any. But what incentive, Okay, LaShawn said, we know if destroy them, we back to square one. Are you talking about like white supremacy? Is that what you're talking about, sweetie? Get too many guns doing it themselves, destroying themselves, destroying themselves.
Yeah.
What my ultimate question is, when I decided to be the Black Honey Badger, is I want us to. This is my pie in the sky hope. Hope is the poison. Is like, okay, I got you, LaShawn, got you. My hope was that I'd write this shit, or I'd do videos and live streams about this shit. They would see this shit and be like, oh shit, we fucking up. Right? This is my ultimate hope. Look, I'm telling you, I'm a realist my damn self, but it's still my ultimate hope. So, but reality's gonna be on some. It's gonna take some drastic measures for them to actually see y'all as worthy. But will it be too late for us at that point?
Now that is the ultimate question, because the dynamic will change.
Yes.
Change is constant, right? So the way this thing is happening now cannot continue to obtain. Mm-hmm. There will be change. Mm-hmm. The question is will we change it, understanding the dynamic and guide the change? Or will we have to just simply ride the goddamn wave of chaos, and whatever happens, happens? Because where we will ultimately come out on the other side will be determined by where we stand in the change to come. Mm-hmm. If you're on the surfboard at the top of the wave, you got a pretty good goddamn chance of surviving what's coming. Right. If your ass is in the water, when the 50-foot wave comes crashing over, your odds decrease a great deal.
Are not in your favor.
And LaShawn hit on something that that I think is key for a lot of people to understand, is that you can't ask black men to mule for you to fight white supremacy when we're not just fighting white supremacy. Because essentially what's occurring is, if we stand up to do that in the main, we're fighting a war on two fronts. We're fighting white supremacy from the front and the gynocracy from the rear. And any tactician will tell you it's not a good look to be fighting a war on two fronts.
I mean, I think that, well, that's a damn good point. Well, like I said, I still have like this small tiny corner of my heart that's like, maybe them bitches will see. But what I hope is that y'all will see that. What I hope is that y'all will see that not only that I love y'all, all of y'all.
Aww.
From the grizzlies to bears. Grizzly bears. I love all of y'all. And even if no other bitch sees, my nigga, I see. And if I could stand in the doorway for them bitches and like smack them each in the face, say, look, I would.
You know what keeps me going, Miss Denny? The work. Right? Like, yeah, you can have your opinion about it. And if you're realist, like you said, your opinion of what you expect to have happen is not very high. Do the work anyway. The work itself is its own reward, right? Your brothers, as you so clearly stated as the Black Honey Badger, need protection. You see that. Never mind that nobody else may see that. You see it. Do the work, right? Like, one thing that I really admire about the Black manosphere is that we are no longer spending our time asking questions about y'all. Those of us who are about growth and progression and the support and uplift of Black males, of ADOS males, we have put our focus on us. right? That you see that in your MGTOW monks, right? Your hardcore red pill cats. They're saying, okay, we know what the issue is with our sisters, and we don't have time to address that. We have specific things. We have agency where we're able to do what we're able to do. So what can we do to better each individual brother we come across, right? And so don't be disheartened. Do the work, because those who will resonate with it will resonate with it. And the majority of them who won't, fuck them. We don't have time to worry about them. You feel me? We have things to do. People who are about collective uplifting growth need to start standing up in the front and be counted. Because we've been sitting in the back too long letting the idiots drive the car. And we see where that shit's getting us, right? So don't get disheartened when you don't see a lot of, because you shouldn't expect to see a lot of females listening to what you're saying, right?
No, but this is from feminist to femininity.
Right, but this is, if you need something to hang your hat on, this is your journey from feminism to femininity. Make it personal, right? Share with us, your brothers, your journey, right? But don't expect your journey to be emulated by your sisters, because the likelihood is that that's not.
LaShawn, to want to listen to y'all. Well, I hope that you listen to me, LaShawn, because like I said, LaShawn, my bad. I hope that what you're hearing from me and looking in my eyes is genuine. It's not no, I don't know how to do artifice, so it ain't no bullshit. I hope you want to listen to what I'm saying. I understand that there are so many more ratchets and strags and bum bitches out there.
No, your brother was actually supporting you. He was saying that there's women out there that's like you, just not enough of y'all for these bitches to listen to. Just not enough to want to. There's just not enough women out there. So LaShawn was agreeing with you. There's not enough women out there that want to hear what you're saying.
I'm sorry. I thought you were saying you didn't. Good Lord. My bad. Carry on.
You good, Miss Jenny? No, I want to say I'm intrigued to see where you go with this, right? I'm glad, and I'm certain that our brothers that are watching are excited to see your journey down this path away from feminism to femininity. They want to better understand. Well, you know what? In some ways, though, you are, right? It's like the air. A fish can't really question that much the water in which it swims. Femininity, the gynocracy, is pervasive. It is endemic to our society at this point. No problem, fam. I got you, right? And so the very fact that you're questioning, wait a minute, what's up with this water we swimming in, already puts you see what I'm saying, kind of ahead of the curve, right? So don't despair. Continue this path. Continue this journey. And allow us to share in that, right? There may not be enough that are out there that'll listen, but you don't need all of the sisters. You just need enough, right? It's just like those of us in the Black manosphere. We don't need all of the brothers to embrace the new ethos of grabbing your brother, cleaving to your brother, and building him up and you up too. We just need enough brothers. Because you're gonna always have your trad kind blue pill niggas who think, oh, these red pill cats, they just hate women and so on and so on. Okay, you're gonna have them cats. You're gonna have the bitter, angry red pill brothers who's just always bitching about women and complaining and whining and crying and shit. And this, that, and that. Because that's what they do. Like, they get this red pill knowledge and then they cry about what women won't do and what men are forced to do. But when you get into the era of the black pill, like BGS says, you already understand the red pill knowledge. Now you're taking that and incorporating that into your life and your brother's lives. You're not just focused on what ain't happening, what you don't like. You don't have time for the bitter. You're about growth at that point. Those brothers are the ones that everybody truly fears. But those are the brothers that need your voice the most. Uplift them.
I will say this about the manosphere. You black pill?
That's right.
That's what's up, Michelle. That's what's up.
I've been on some black pill shit. I'm done with the white. No, I had the red pill knowledge forever ago. I didn't make the transition to black pill until I understood that, okay, that's all that. That is what it is. What can I do for my brother LaShan? What can I do for my brother Christopher, my brother BGS, and myself to foster the protection, the growth, the uplift, the maintenance that we need, because nobody else is going to do it for us. Black Pill Brothers was the first one that says there is no justice, there's just us.
Got you. So I will say this about the manosphere. I've been doing a lot of research, like I said, wanting to learn more about what I've chosen to be my garments. So I've been reading about the manosphere, about men's rights, about all this good shit. What I find interesting in the pale stream media is that they always equate the manosphere and men's rights to incels and how they done lost their goddamn mind and shot up people. And I never understand it, and I never like it. But I will tell you that I have learned so much more about this, what I've decided to put on this mantle. But I do not like that they put y'all in the same group as incels. The manosphere is not about whether or not they can get pussy. I'm sorry to any woman who's about to listen to this. Pussy has really less value than anybody seems to think.
Facts. Damn, did I say that out loud?
And like, all up in this area in my ear.
Facts.
And on top of that, you can go with a girl to get a pretzel and, end up boning. So it's not about whether you can have sex or not. Sex is physical, which is great, but it's so not the whole equation of a relationship. Don't get me wrong. Sex good, but I'm just saying it's not the whole thing. Shut up. It's not the whole thing. It's not. So it is. The manosphere is not about angry men who can't get no pussy or respect.
But wait a minute. You know why they frame it that way, though, right?
They do.
Why?
So that the average reader will see it and be like, I don't want to do that shit.
Not at all. Because no one can... Okay, it's the same reason why ADOS people have to be in the employ of the Russians, right? We have to be, divisive, xenophobic, anti-immigrant. The reason why is because when people have been used to treating you a certain way, and you're seeking to change the dynamic, they can't understand the choice that you made to change the dynamic, right? I remember in the Matrix, the Oracle said, no one can see past a choice they don't understand, right? Nobody sees or understands that men are just like, Black Pill Brothers are just like, you know what? We don't really give a damn about no ass, right? That's not serving us. We don't really care if you like us or if you think well of us. You've established that in many ways you don't think well of us. Right. So we're not even going to concern ourselves about what you think about us, right? We're only going to do what's the needful for us, right? That sort of, for lack of a better way to say it, walk away mentality that even married Black Pill Brothers might have, right? No one understands that choice. So they have to try to find a rationalization that they can't understand. So they understand bitterness. He angry. He just don't get enough attention from women. He just, he just a lame, right? These are things that they can't accept. They can't accept that we're walking away because we have legitimate reasons for walking the fuck away, because that would require them to address our arguments. That would require them to face the data. And they don't want to do that.
Well, listen, I know that it is late over here, so it must be late where you are. So what I want to do is end it here for now. I'll be back probably next week with another Feminist to Feminine session. I love all of y'all. Thank you so much to Mark Black for coming in.
My pleasure, sister, as
and
always.
Making this broadcast even better than what I had planned it to be. Thank you so much. And to all my honey badgers, keep your claws sharp, your hearts pure, and your minds clear.